Hello, gorgeous ladies of the l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage community. Welcome to this Facebook Live, which is day 3 out of 5 for the big reveal of the brand new 6-month program, Foundation and Refinement. Welcome, welcome. If you are here live today, you can say hello in the comments. Hello, Miriam. If you are catching this Facebook Live in replay, well, you can write #replay so that I can say hello a little bit later or tomorrow. And I am very excited today to come and talk to you about how did I create the method LAVMB. Pour celles qui sont nouvelles, LAVMB, c'est la façon que je dis l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage. En anglais, c'est plus court, c'est plus simple. And it's fun and it sounds good. Hello Marie-Pierre, hello Madeleine, welcome, welcome. But before I start today, I want to remind you that this week we have this amazing contest, and it is such a pleasure to see everybody who has been participating to the contest on Monday and Tuesday. It's so nice to see what resonated the most with you in the previous Facebook Lives. So thank you for participating, and I can't wait to announce the big winner on Friday during the Q&A and Shop With Me session on Zoom. So if you are new and you're just catching this Facebook Live and you don't know what I'm talking about, essentially this week we have this beautiful contest to win the brand new 6-month program, Foundation and Refinement. And how can you win? I invite you, in order to win, to share this Facebook Live on your Facebook wall and to write what resonated the most with you during the Facebook Live. Qu'est-ce qui a résonné le plus avec toi? Qu'est-ce qui t'a parlé le plus, qui t'a touché le plus? And then after you post it on your Facebook wall, you can come down under this Facebook Live in the comments, and then you can copy paste the same thing. I want to read you. I want to feel you. So you can write it there. You can say, I have shared. And then you can tag me, Andreann Duquet, LAVMB, so that way I can see that you have shared the Facebook Live. And then we write your name and we put it in the hat. Now, because this week has 5 Facebook Lives, if you watch all of them, you can have 5 chances of winning this contest. Isn't that amazing? Hello, Aranza. Hello, Fanny. Welcome, welcome. So I will be announcing the big winner on Friday, because Friday night I will offer at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time a Q&A. Q&A, c'est quoi ça? C'est question and answers, okay? So we will have a moment on Zoom together live where you will be able to talk to me, ask me your questions. So we will have a Q&A together and a Shop With Me session. So Friday night, 5:30 p.m. and Saturday, if you can't attend on Friday, then I also offer a Q&A and Shop With Me session on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this week, it's important to understand that for us, this is a big celebration to reveal the brand new Foundation and Refinement program, and the energy is magical this week, and my celebration lasts this week. Okay, ça va durer cette semaine, which means that on Saturday, it will be until 6 p.m., okay, so 6 heures du soir, 18 heures en français, en québécois. Alors, jusqu'à 18 heures, in order to benefit from the limited offers that I have this week. And I say offers because we have some clients from the Pure Beginner program, the Pure Beginner Level 2 Experience program. We have different offers inside the communities of clients. Hello, Ellen. Hello, hello. So it will be possible to catch different offers depending where you come from. And I'm telling you, this week is super special for me, so I'm being ultra generous. So these limited offers are going to end on Saturday at 6 p.m. today I took the time to go inside each community that we have at l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage in order to explain that to you. So if you are already a participant of one intensive training, then go and watch this Facebook Live because I have information in there for you. All right? So that's about the contest. So I hope it is clear. Hello, Hélène. I'm so glad to see you, Miriam. So today it's all about telling you how I created the method of l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage, because if you have watched the last Facebook Lives, you probably noticed that it's very unique, the vibe over here, right? And my method is very unique because what you must know is that I did not grow up speaking English. I really wish I would have, but I didn't. But that's okay because today I know that I was meant to learn it later in life in order to be right here, right now in this Facebook Live talking to you. And it's the same thing about the English trainings. It's so special the way that I teach, and I want to tell you more about this today. So essentially, how did it all start for me? Let's just go back to when I became an English teacher, right? So when I started teaching, I told you yesterday I was teaching for 3 different schools at the very beginning. This is end of 2015, beginning of 2016, okay? So before l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage was born as a company, I was teaching self-employed. Hello, Sonia, I'm so happy you're here. And so when I started teaching, I was hired for my amazing life experience, traveling the world with Disney on Ice, and I had been, you know, all around the world in 63 countries. And so, of course, when I sent in my resumes, it was very attracting, right? But my experience in teaching English was none. However, my love for English was huge. So I told them all the truth, right, about having no experience, but I felt a calling in doing this job and taking these contracts and becoming an English teacher. So when I started, quickly when I was receiving questions from my students, I would always explain to them in the way that I understood it in my head. You know, hi Linda. So, of course, at the time, I thought that all the French speakers saw English in their heads the same way I did. And then eventually, the more I was teaching, the more students I had and the more feedback I was getting from my students, I realized, oh, nobody sees it the way I see it. And so I was teaching them and I was giving them all my tricks that I gave myself when I learned English with Disney on Ice when I was 18 years old in the United States. And so all the links that I was creating in my head from English to French, because there are so many links you can make between the two, I was giving them all my tricks and all my visual associations and my phonetic concept as well, because I don't teach phonetics the same way as other English teachers. And so I was just having so much fun giving them all my knowledge and all the things I had learned around the world. And they were like mind blown. Because, hello Vicky, because they had taken English classes before having me as an English teacher, but no one had ever taught English to them this way before. So when I started hearing like, Andreann, mais ça fait donc ben du sens la façon que tu l'expliques. But I didn't hear that just once. I heard it from all of them. They kept saying that. They kept saying, I wish I would have learned it this way before. I would have become bilingual before now or before this year, because then they could feel that they would find this click, you know, le fameux déclic. So I obviously started thinking, okay, there's something very special in the way I explain it, in the way I see it in my head, and the way I put it on paper in order for them to also understand it, you know? And I am a visual person and I am a kinesthetic person. So for me, I need to see, I need to feel, and I want the same for you. So it was something I would do with my clients back then, and I know that hi, ça va être Marie-Pierre, MP, j'imagine Marie-Pierre. Hi. So for those of you who did the immersive English retreat on the cruise ship in January, so last January with me, you probably noticed that I have a hidden talent of writing on the board upside down. So when I was teaching my students in person, I would be sitting at the table of their house face to face. So I had my little board where I would write down in order for them to see in the right direction. So I developed the skill of writing upside down, and they loved it. And for me, it was so important to write the words, to write the phonetics, to even write sometimes the visual association. Sometimes I would draw something. Like it's for me, this is what makes so much sense, because I am visual and I know I'm not the only one, you know? And then, so for me, when I realized, okay, well, my method works and it's making them having breakthroughs, then I thought, okay, there's something here that I'm doing well, you know, and I've built my confidence over the months like this. And then I want to tell you something, that before I quit working for these schools, right, I was able to attend like a team meeting, like a team building meeting. So I was never in touch with the other teachers. I never had to see the other teachers. But one of the schools, they wanted to have us, all the teachers together, in order to connect and, you know, what we do as a company. So I showed up thinking, what the hell am I doing here in some ways? Because when I got there and I saw all these people much older than me, with so much experience of teaching English, and they all spoke English with the perfect English accent, and I came there with my international accent because I speak with a French accent, but also a British accent, but sometimes American accent. I mean, it's a mix because I learned English around the world, right? So I show up there, and these teachers, they're like asking me a bunch of questions about how I teach, and I don't really want to admit to them that I use French to explain English grammar. I remember like so clearly, but this was like, for me, I realized how different I was from all the others. But I was telling them, oh, well, my students, they went from here to here, and we were exchanging just experiences that we were having with our students. And I realized, well, we have pretty much the same results. We just do it our own way. So anyways, eventually I quit those schools, and then I started building my own documents, right? Because I really wanted my students to have, like, the way I see it in my head, to have it on paper so they can put it in a beautiful binder and they can learn from my method and from that. So I would spend hours. I mean, I told you yesterday, I would drive all day to teach 6 hours in total. Then I would get home and I would correct homework and I would create new documents until like 1 in the morning. Yeah. And then back then, we didn't have any AI or any tools to give us ideas, you know. I had a grammar book, like an intermediate grammar book. And then I would go in there and I would inspire myself from that. And then, of course, it helped me as well to study the grammar, because once again, it's not what I studied at university. I studied entrepreneurship and management at university. But then I was diving in the grammar rules, and then I was analyzing, okay, how did I understand that when I was on an immersion with Disney on Ice? Because the thing that I noticed is that the books and the normal school and high school and cégep and even university, they teach us the same way everywhere. It's like, here's the box, go in the box, it's a beige box. And then that's what you have to do, and that's what you have to learn, and this is English. And it's like, And so I was like, but what they teach in there, not only the way they teach it is kind of meh, but also it's just not related to the real world. Because I learned English in that beige box when I was in high school. We all did, right? And then when I got to Disney on Ice with those tools from the inside the box, I didn't feel like I could speak to anyone. And I was so mad. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I was so mad. I was like, wow, I've been taking these classes privately as well. And then, you know, the English classes in high school and cégep in order to get to Disney. My dream of skating for Disney on Ice, it started when I was 15 years old. So I was like, I knew I had to learn English and speak English. But when I was 18 and I left for Disney on Ice, I still could not speak English for the real world. And so when I started teaching English, I was like, well, let's just skip that. We don't need that. I'm turning the pages of my intermediate book and I'm like, I don't need that in the real life. I never learned that and I'm bilingual. So I started filtering what is really useful and what isn't. Because that's the truth. What do we want the most with speaking English fluently is to connect. That's what we want the most. We are women. We are human beings. We want to connect. So there are some grammar rules. I was like, I survived for like 15 years without these rules and I'm great. So I don't think I'm going to focus on that just yet, you know? So essentially that's really how everything started. And then being a visual person, it was so important for me to just have these beautiful photos, or like, so some of you, you know, I teach with it's bonhomme, okay, little characters, little stick figures, and then I just like the visual stuff because for me, it helped me seeing really on the timeline, you know, okay, well, where am I on the timeline and which verb tense do I use? And funny enough, the way I teach English, it really helps you to enhance, and to increase your French grammar because I make links between the two. And so it's not rare that some girls, they come with us, they come in our community, and then they're like, oh, even my French got better. And so, hello, I'm so happy to see you guys. Hi. And so that's essentially how the method started. And then another thing also related to why now I'm so proud of my method, and now I tell everyone about my unique method because not only it works and I have witnessed so many transformations, but also it comes from my own experience when I learned Spanish, okay? So you have to know that when I quit Disney on Ice in 2014, I was coming back end of August 2014 to Quebec City, and it was too late to register to university. I had missed the boat. So I had that dream of learning Spanish and speaking Spanish because I had traveled the world where I heard so much Spanish, even if we were in countries where Spanish was not the main language. I realized how powerful and useful it was to speak Spanish as well. So a lot of my friends spoke Spanish, and when I was traveling in Europe, I was impressed and I was amazed by how many languages do the European people speak. Like 3, 4, 5 sometimes. I'm like, what? 5 languages? But they're all like Latin roots, right? They're like, oh, it's easy, Andreann, it's Latin roots. And I'm like, oh, sure. So of course that inspired me because I had seen people who spoke so many languages. I was like, okay, I want to speak 3. So it was kind of my big why at the time, why I wanted to learn Spanish. So I left to Colombia. I visited a friend there. I started, you know, studying some Spanish with him and his family, making sentences and learning how to tell stories in Spanish. And then I went to Costa Rica in a proper Spanish immersion. And over there, the mentality is, we only speak Spanish, okay? I'm sure you see me coming here. So it was great because the school was on the beach in Playa Samara. So that was absolutely beautiful. The sunset, just how I love them. And we had included in the school as well yoga classes. That's where I fell in love with yoga, by the way. We had cooking classes, salsa, bachata classes, and all kinds of things. So that was quite fun. So I was also living with a local family, a familia tica, and they did not speak a word of English. So let me tell you that the first meals with them, they were very awkward, like, gracias, por favor, muy bueno. We were using the hands a lot to speak, right? But then, what I want to share, like, I put you in context now, right? Everything was in Spanish, but I didn't speak it at the time. I knew sentences and some verbs in the past and key sentences that I had learned by heart pretty much. I get to the school, I do my evaluation, I tell them that I finished traveling with Disney on Ice, blah, blah, all that in Spanish, and they placed me in an intermediate class. But I was not intermediate yet, but I was speaking in the past, though. And then the real truth is I never learned the present, I just learned the past. So anyways, I get placed in an intermediate class, and I am with intermediate students. There's about 8 of us, we're all girls, and the other ones were all from Europe. They already spoke 2, 3 languages, and Spanish was like the 4th one for them. And so I get there, and then the teacher, she was beautiful, she was really nice, but she only spoke Spanish. And then every time I would raise my hand and say, lo siento, no entiendo, like, sorry, I don't understand, she would repeat the same thing, the same way, with the same speed sometimes. And I was like, sorry, I just said that what you said, I did not understand, so can you find a different way to explain it, you know? Obviously, I did not say that, but that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, you're repeating the same thing I just said, I did not get that. So at some point, I had to turn towards my colleague on the right side, Marine, her name was Marine. And I was like, what is this? I don't understand. And she spoke French for like 3 seconds, and she said, think about that in French, and that's all. And I was like, that's all? And I got it, you know? And then I started making links between Spanish and French, Spanish and English, and making bridges like this in my brain. And it started to come inside my brain like so well, so good, you know? So this experience that I had with the Spanish teacher there, I had a lot of frustrations, despite the fact that she was beautiful and nice and you know, she was smiling and she had a great energy, but then the way she explained and repeating the same thing didn't help me, and it created a lot of frustrations. And every time I would get mad inside, my ears would almost close. Like for the rest of the class, I would not hear a thing because I was mad. And you know, when you're mad, then might as well put this class in the trash. C'est comme, il y en a une de perdue. Parce que quand on ressent des émotions négatives, ben, c'est un peu gâché, là. Le moment, il est gâché. On s'entend jusqu'à temps que on tourne la page puis on change d'émotion, tu sais. Puis une émotion, ça peut passer vite, mais en même temps, si la personne a t'énerve, t'as plus le goût de la regarder, là. T'as plus le goût de l'écouter, tu sais. Fait que j'ai vécu énormément de frustration avec cette prof-là. Puis je me suis dit, crime, ça aurait été quoi de me le dire en anglais, genre, ou d'essayer, ou à la limite de dire aux autres filles dans la classe qui clairement parlaient français et anglais et allemand. Tu sais, genre, je parle 3 langues, il y en a 2 là-dessus que les filles, tu sais, comme, ils parlent aussi, là. Ils peuvent-tu m'expliquer en français ou en anglais, s'il te plaît, ça serait nice, tu sais. Mais non, elle leur disait de pas me répondre. Là, j'étais comme, tabarouette, eh ben, poche, elle, tu sais, pour pas dire le B-word. Fait que ça m'a créé de la frustration. Puis quand j'ai commencé à enseigner l'anglais, je me suis dit, c'est pas vrai que je vais faire vivre ça à mes élèves. Parce que je sais c'est quoi sortir de la zone. La zone de plaisir, la zone de connexion, la zone que t'as le goût d'être là, là. Moi, je sortais de cette zone-là, ça prenait pas de temps, parce que j'étais là, crime, tu me traites comme si j'étais stupide, mais je suis pas stupide. Mais tu me répètes la même affaire 4 fois. Comprenez, là, la frustration qui pouvait monter en dedans de moi, puis en plus, j'étais un petit peu en retard sur les autres dans la classe, puis là, ben là, moi, à 26 ans, là, avec mon ego, j'étais comme, voyons, là, je suis capable, tu sais. Puis je vous le dis, là, when I was going home, every night, I was doing all my homework. And I was spending hours in the dictionary, because back then, we did not have smartphones like we do today, so I had my paper dictionary, and I was turning the pages and taking notes and doing all the things. But at some point, I almost gave up. There was one night I came back home and I was looking at the pile of homework and I cried. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself again? Because when I learned English by myself with the people of Disney on Ice, which not all of them were nice to me, you know, well, it was a hard period and I felt like I was in the same situation. I was like, I put myself back in that situation. Why am I here? So I had a thought of going back to Canada. I was like crying. I was discouraged. I was like thinking I'm never going to make it. Je vais jamais y arriver à parler l'espagnol. And then I thought, well, I speak English. I can still travel the world. I'm good. The next day, I get on the beach because the school is on the beach, right? And then there's a local there selling the coconuts and all that. And I start talking to him like in the way I had never spoke Spanish before. And it just clicked. And also the fact that I didn't care what I sounded like to him because there was nobody else around and there were no teacher around to tell me, meh, 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 meh. And so that's when I started speaking Spanish. I nearly gave up the day before. I was this close. But then I was like, I'm here now and there's no going back. I'm going to finish what I started because it's important to finish what we start. Because it's always out of these harder moments that something blooms, that something great happens. It's life. I could make a lot of different analogy with this. It's life, right? And so something I want to tell you about me learning Spanish in 2014, not only it helped me when I was traveling Costa Rica, Nicaragua, when I was in Mexico, because I spent different winters, different months, you know, in Mexico, a lot of time there. I never thought that when I learned Spanish, that one day I would end up in Veracruz and meet my colleagues, Aranza and Esmeralda. Because if I would have never spoken Spanish, I would have never gone to Veracruz because over there they don't speak English. It's not a touristic place. So I went there because I met someone in Barcelona. This person has a yoga studio. Oh, come and hang out. I've got this guest room. It's amazing. We're good at acro together. Let's do it. I got there. And then Aranza happens to be the sister of one of the acro yogi from the yoga studio. And that's how I met her. And today we still work together. Since 2019, 6 years together. Isn't that amazing? But if I would have never finished my immersion in Spanish, I would have never met Aranza. Esmeralda is also from Veracruz. When people were asking me, Andreann, can you teach me Spanish? I'm like, ooh, I can only teach the basic. I can give you all my trick, but that is all. I mean, I can't say that I'm perfect in Spanish. I'm not, but I'm able to connect. So I talked to my friend Patty and my friend Omar, who's in Aranza's family, right? And I'm like, hey, do you guys know anyone? Turns out Esmeralda is the cousin of Patty, Aranza's sister-in-law, right? So that's how Esme became the Spanish teacher in the LAVMB company, and also she does the correction of the homework in the foundation refinement program. Isn't that amazing? But that's not everything. This year, as you know, I got engaged and my fiance, he grew up in Romania, so he is Romanian. And then eventually he came as a teenager, he came to the United States to live with his mom. And that's how he learned English and Spanish, because his stepdad is Mexican. Now this year, after we got engaged, it was already planned, but I met my parents-in-law. And believe it or not, when they are all together in the kitchen chit-chatting and having a drink, what language do they speak? Spanish. So isn't that amazing how everything aligns? everything aligns. I don't feel like excluded when they're here because I understand Spanish and they speak English as well. So if I want to reply in English, if I'm tired, if I'm tired, then I'm good because they understand. So I speak 3 languages, and 2 of them I can speak with my family-in-law. But 10 years ago, I did not know that. There is no way I could have known that. And so it's the same thing for you with your English. Because right now you have desires. Right now you have that seed in your heart that just needs to be watered to bloom. We talked about that already at the beginning of the week. But you know how I say 6 months can change the rest of your life? You don't know if you're single who you might meet in 2, 5, 10 years. You don't know as an entrepreneur which mentor you will want to learn from in 2, 5, 10 years. You don't know who your children will marry in 2, 5, 10 years. Maybe their partners are gonna be speaking not French, maybe English and other languages, we don't know. Maybe your brother-in-law is gonna make a new girlfriend and she won't speak French in 2, 5, or 10 years. And then you'll click, ha, Andreann told me one day. We can't see that far in the future, right? We don't see where it's going to take us, but I can tell you, learning a second language, it's unbelievable. All the opportunities and all the doors that open, because if I would have not spoken Spanish with my family-in-law, it would have been fine. Obviously, they speak English, but when they are all together in their natural ways, they speak Spanish. So I can just dive in and be like, hey, I speak Spanish too. You know, and one day that's gonna be you. Brother-in-law comes in with the new girlfriend. Well, this is Shirley. Oh, hi, Shirley. Nice to meet you. Oh, wow, you speak English. I do. Imagine. That could be any of us. So for me, it was important to share this story because I cried when I told my team about this. I was like, ladies, I could have never guessed that 10 years ago learning Spanish would have made so much sense today in my life, as I'm going to marry somebody from Romania and then his family speaks Spanish. How random is that? But I mean, wow. So that's the ripple effect. En passant, les filles, ripple, ça s'écrit R-I-P-P-L-E. Ripple. C'est comme quand tu lances une roche dans l'eau puis ça fait des ondulations. The ripple effect, okay? So that was important for me to explain because sometimes life makes sense or doesn't make sense, but somehow it all aligns, okay? And so to go back to the method, that's it's really something that inspired me, the adventure I had in the Spanish immersion in Costa Rica in order to not teach like that to my students. And again, that's how the method was created more and more, months after months after months, because I would dare to explain certain things in French about the English grammar because it just made more sense. It's like, I'm not here to talk grammar with you. I'm here to connect and have conversations because at the end of the day, what do you want is to be good at conversations and to be good at connecting with other human beings. So if I can just tell you quickly in French what's this grammar rule all about, and then you click, then we move on to what's fun, which is conversation. So in l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage, it's not only the method that's very unique, but also our approach. Because we have core concepts that are so important for us that we bring forward in everything we do. The group coaching sessions, the one-on-one sessions, like all the special self-development workshops that we do inside the community. It's so, so, so important, okay? So I want to share with you some of the core concepts so that you understand the vibe and you understand the frequency of l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage, and the brand new 6-month program, Foundation and Refinement. So I told you a little bit about it, I believe yesterday, but I want to just come back to certain core concepts because you will understand a lot more why it's important. We have girls, okay, we have women who would come and talk to me or my colleagues, and they would say, Andreann, when I practice English with my husband, with my partner, I block because there's like a power dynamic, you know? When you speak to your partner like a little girl, we talked about that, it's not the person you want to be, right? And then they want to help you. They do their best, but sometimes they respond, ben non, là, c'est pas comme ça qu'on dit ça, là. Puis si c'est pas ton partenaire ou ta partenaire, c'est peut-être tes enfants. Mais là, maman, là, voyons donc, on dit pas ça comme ça. Puis là, je dis ça de même parce que je le sais que c'est arrivé au nombre de femmes qui m'ont dit ça. Fait qu'on s'entend-tu que de travailler, de pratiquer son anglais dans un environnement comme ça, ben, on se sent pas en sécurité. So for us in LAVMB, it's so important to create an environment where you feel safe, an environment where you can make mistakes. We encourage you to make mistakes because we know it's when you make mistakes that you learn the most. So we create an environment where you won't feel judged, you won't feel stupid, you won't feel like a little girl. You will just try, you will make attempts, you will make sentences, you will try a new expression, a new phrasal verb, and then you will be corrected, and then you learn from that, and everybody learns from that too, because in a group session, for instance, I say something, there's a mistake, I get corrected, I'm not the only one who learns. Everybody was there watching, so you learn too, and you're like, oh, I like that expression. I'm going to use it from now on. Because it's multiple beautiful minds in the same container when it's a group session. So we all learn from one another, but it's important to feel safe in order to have that kind of results. So for us to have this safe environment, it's mandatory. And this is what we create inside the community. Moreover, we talked about context together. Then for us, the community that we are creating and the reason why it's a premium intensive training, the reason why we want an energetic match with the ladies who are coming in there and learning with us, it's super important because of the quality of the community, the high standards that we have inside the community, because we want you to be able to connect with more than just your English coach. We want you to connect with other people, also other women inside the community. So having common interests is super important. Being women that value relationships, that value evolution, that value growth, it's important because then we connect on a whole different level. And we said that before. What we want is connecting. And so how do you connect with an English coach if they don't have at all the same interests or passions as you? You talk about surface things, but we are women. We like to talk about deep stuff, don't we? So in order to reach that kind of level of connection, in order to be able to have these conversations at a deeper level and to develop your vocabulary for all these beautiful conversations, it's important to have the right person in front of you who can hold that kind of energy, who can hold that kind of conversation with you. And we don't find that just anywhere. So it's important for us that you resonate with that because this is what we resonate with. And the ladies inside the Foundation Refinement program, that's what they resonate about as well. So for us, this beautiful context is important. And we know that when we connect deeply with someone, what do you think happens? We remove our mask, we let the ego at the door, and we can allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to open up. And that's when the best moments happen. That's when the magic happens. Like, how nice is it to hang up from your one-on-one session and you're like, ooh, I can't wait for the next one. And then us, as English coaches, we feel the same. We hang up and I'm like, oh, I love this girl. Can't wait for her to text me or to send me a voice message on Voxer. Like, that's how we are, because what we do, we have it at heart. And we want so much for you. But it's important that you want as much for yourself, and we can't do it for you. We can give you all the tools, we can give you a bunch of keys, a bunch of tricks. But at the end of the day, it's your success. It's your transformation. It's your process. And we are here to guide you and to support you. And this is what we can do when we have a true connection. So that's why this is a core concept for us. Because the connection changes everything. And I'm sure you can relate, because we all have connected in the past with different people where we're like, wow, what a beautiful woman. Right? And don't we love it when that happens? I'm thinking about a client of ours. She had such a great connection with her coach. And when she started the 6-month program, so she works with doctors, okay, and bilingual doctors in Montreal. And she felt inferior to them because they speak English and French, and also they are doctors. So there must be some sort of like energy that they have when they're at work. And I've never been in that field of work, so I can't exactly see how it goes, but I can imagine maybe the dynamic between the doctors and the nurses and all the other specialists around. And so she would feel inferior to them, and she would hate it. She was like, I just want to be able to answer longer answers than yes, okay, or no, not this one, or, you know, like, quand on fait des petites réponses parce qu'on est gêné, puis la personne, elle nous stresse, puis elle nous intimide, puis on se sent pas bien à côté d'elle. Puis c'est pas de sa faute à la personne, dans le sens que elle fait sa job. Elle s'en vient aider ses patients. Mais c'est comme le rôle, pas le rôle, mais la place dans laquelle on se met inconsciemment, parce que nous, on a décidé qu'on était inférieur parce qu'on parlait pas l'anglais parfaitement. Je sais pas si tu me suis. So that's the energy that she came in, where she felt inferior and she was so stressed or, you know, nervous every time she needed to talk to the doctors that she was working with. And then she started the Foundation and Refinement program. And then she had such a strong connection with her coach. They had the best conversations by voice message. I know because I heard about them. Because not only I know the coach, but I know the client as well. And so I heard the best stories about their connection, and I was so stoked to hear that. Because truly, when we have that, we know it's a massive key to your success, you know? And so they would just go deep in conversations and talk about the kind of conversations we love talking about as women. And then she went through the first half of the 6-month program, which is like the foundation part, which is foundation. Yeah. So she went through the first part, and then she started transforming her English. And then at some point, she texted her coach and she said, oh my God, I just had the best compliment from this doctor that used to intimidate me so much. And so what the doctor had said to her was like, oh wow, your English has gotten so good. And so because she was probably more confident and explaining with a lot more words and great sentences and you know, it was probably fluent. It was probably just coming out like, oh, I've always spoken like this kind of thing, even though it wasn't the case, right? So this was like halfway through the 6-month program. At the end of the 6-month program, it was a proper transformation. Of course, for her, she's like, I want more, I want more, I want more. And that's normal. But what a great feeling to know that your clients want more, because that it means they love it. They love English. They love the language. They love speaking it. They love expressing themselves with it. And that's what we want. That's what we want to hear. That's amazing, right? And so her relationships with the doctors with whom she works they have changed so much, because she was connecting with her coach. She was coached by her coach. Elle a été coachée par sa coach. She just increased her confidence at a whole new level. And then now she feels an equal. Isn't that amazing? In only 6 months. And it's been years that she works with these doctors, that she's been like dragging this feeling of feeling inferior. I mean, going to work every day feeling that way, it's heavy. It's not nice. We don't want to feel like that. So that's definitely something that I wanted to share about the connection and how important it is to connect. And then another core concept that we bring forward is your mindset. That's why we love working with the girls who are all in, motivated, and they have a big why. And the big why, le grand pourquoi, le big why est important parce que ça te garde discipliné. Tu sais, dans la vie, les filles, la motivation, là, quand on en a, on le sait. Mais la motivation, ça va comme ça. Des fois, elle est très haute. Des fois, elle redescend. Fait qu'on peut pas se fier juste à notre motivation pour avancer puis pour aller chercher des résultats. Il faut être discipliné. Now, discipline is what you want. And in order to be disciplined, you need to have a direction. You need to have a specific goal. You need to have a big why. So we work a lot on training your mindset, because 50% of the work is here. Your limiting beliefs, we work on that, because they slow us down, don't they? Nos croyances, ce à quoi on croit, ça nous ralentit tellement quand on n'est pas dans le bon environnement. C'est difficile de grandir dans un environnement où les gens autour de nous, ils font plus rien pour grandir, pour évoluer. Fait que dans ce temps-là, il faut s'entourer de gens qui, elles, veulent évoluer pour que ça nous garde disciplinés, motivés, inspirés. Super important. Pour avoir un mindset de feu, il faut être entouré de gens avec un mindset de feu. You know? It's super, super important. Hi Julie, hi Jenny, Hélène, Marie-Ève, José, hello. So the mindset is super important, and I want you to know that if you want something that you never had, you have to be willing to do something that you have never done. You know, your next level and your next ripple, you won't meet it inside your comfort zone. You have to go out of the comfort zone to grow, to evolve, to become a better version of yourself. That version of yourself who in 2, 5, 10 years will meet someone who speaks English and be like, hi, nice to meet you. Hey, how's your day? Just like that, easy, flowy. Because one day you made the decision to choose yourself. You did not wait for any permission. You chose yourself because it all comes down to you. You choose for you. Nobody else chooses for you. So not choosing is also a choice. Remember that. So try to see if your decisions, if your choices are aligned with what you want. That's a great reflection to have, because sometimes we say things that we want, but all the choices and the decisions that we make, they don't align. And therefore, you don't manifest what you want because it's not aligned. Because you have to choose yourself first. Yeah. So the mindset is a huge key, and changing your pair of glasses is one of my favorite things. And then, allô Nathalie, Dominique, super, des belles femmes FNR qui sont ici. FNR, c'est Foundation and Refinement. I'm so happy to see you all. That's great. So definitely for us, those are important core concepts. Another one that I bring forward, and you probably noticed by now, is fun. Le plaisir. C'est pas pour rien que j'ai appelé ça Foundation. C'est un jeu de mots, hein, pour foundation avec le mot fun à l'intérieur. C'est important d'avoir du plaisir. Puis dans la façon que j'ai structuré Foundation and Refinement, c'est un peu à tous les jours. C'est pas comme 3 heures le lundi, 3 heures le mercredi, 3 heures le samedi. Ouf, non, c'est lourd. Non, a little bit every day. Let's keep it light and fun. I love to bring music in the videos. I love to make you meditate, work on yourself, because that's fun too. Because don't we love evolving, ladies? A human being that is evolving is a happy human being. Yes, it is uncomfortable to leave the comfort zone in order to grow, but after you notice how much you have grown, you're like, wow, that was so worth it. So worth it, right? And so it's really important to understand these things and to feel the fun in your learning. Because if you're having fun while you're learning, you're going to fall in love with the whole process, and then it's just going to create better results for you. And then earlier I talked about connection. I talked about being able to remove your mask and leave your ego at the door. So what's another aspect of this do you think is important to have in order to connect deeply? It starts with an A. Authenticity. Authenticity is an important value for us because, again, this is how we create connection. And I'm saying that because if it resonates with you, then this is enhancing the magnetic match that we have together. It's something important for us. Evolution is important. The reason why I bring so much meditation and so much moment of going inward, it's because it's important for everyone in the l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage team to evolve and to work on ourselves. This is called self-development. We bring that forward in our approach. Super important, because if you're going to become the next version of yourself, then there is some work to do. And then we are here to support you, to guide you with that. And so the meditation, for me, is a great tool that I like to offer because you can always go back to them. They are yours for life. It's lifetime access. They are yours for life. So it's super important to use them when you need. When the motivation comes down, just go back to a meditation that I offered and you will see it's going to reconnect you. All the work that I've done inside in my life, it's been the best investment ever, every time. I recently hired, finally, after 3 years of having her face on my vision board, I just hired my dream mentor. Finally, I get to talk to her, not just watch her. I get to talk to her and she replies to me. It's amazing. Because evolution is important. Every year, I take a 1-year training with someone that I admire, that I know I will grow by being connected in their energy, by listening to them, by feeling inspired by them. And that is definitely part of the story I told you on day 1. Because they are part of my journey. I've learned so much from these people that I hired in order to invest in myself and grow and evolve. So everybody in my team, we focus on growth and evolution. And I'm saying that because I know that if it is important for you as well, if you're someone who resonates with that, then again, that increases our magnetic match. And it's important to have it for the connection. Super important. And you will find that when you speak English and practice English with people in the same frequency as us, you will feel at ease and you will evolve much faster than if you are full of cortisol in your body. Parce que le cortisol, on sait, c'est l'hormone du stress. Quand on a ça, là, on devient un petit peu... on n'est pas la même, hein? On n'est pas la même. And we've all experienced moments where like, buh, 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 and then you go to the bathroom and you're like, what was that? Even in French, it happens. So imagine in English, right? So that's super important for the frequency. Super, super important. So for me, to share all these core concepts with you today, it's mandatory because I need you to feel. I want you to just be able to have a vision. I know you must be a visual person. If you're here, if you're drawn towards the energy of l'anglais, votre meilleur bagage, because we are so different and so unique, I know there must be a lot in common that we have, and you can visualize that. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Melanie, Natalie. I'm so happy you're here. Jose. Hi, ladies. So I will tomorrow come back in a Facebook Live at 10 a.m. If you can't attend at 10 a.m., don't worry. You can catch the replay tomorrow. I get to show you the brand new foundation and refinement, what it looks like. Today, I actually received the brand new foundation and refinement book. It was delivered at the door, and there's a whole story around it because the Office Depot would not take my Canadian credit card, and so I had to ask a friend to pay with his credit card, and then he had to pick it up. Anyway, he dropped it off, and I was so excited. It is absolutely stunning. I get to show it to you tomorrow. I will show you other things as well. So tomorrow's live is at 10 a.m. Now, if you want to participate to the contest, don't forget to share the Facebook Live on your Facebook wall and write down what resonated the most with you in today's Facebook Live. You post that. Then you come back under this Facebook Live and you tell us, you tag me at Andreann Duquet LAVMB. You can say, I shared it, and then your name will go in the hat. And if you do that 5 times, you get 5 chances of winning the brand new 6-month program, Foundation and Refinement. So this is how you can participate. And once again, the girls who are already part of either Pure Beginner 10-week program, Pure Beginner Level 2 experience, or the Foundation and Refinement, you can see that I have left beautiful Facebook Lives in there for you today. So please watch them as there are important information in there for you. So that is everything for today. I just can't wait to show it to you tomorrow. It's next level, and you will get even more visually now the new frequency of the brand new 6-month program, Foundation and Refinement. But until then, I will wish you a wonderful evening. I will go and read all your comments, and I see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Bye, ladies.